Okay, so I thought today we would take a look at the DM44, the little multimeter that's mounted on top of the Tektronix 465B oscilloscope, and it's got an issue with it. If you watched one of my earlier videos, I believe I mentioned that the display constantly reads out 0.3, 0.3, 0.3, 0.3 for all 4 digits on this thing. And I believe that it is, yeah, just a, I don't see a 1 on there. Oh, maybe there is a 1. But anyways, uh, I've already done a little bit to it. If you go through the troubleshooting chart, that's why I don't have a video of that, is because it was such a simple, direct thing. I didn't think that it would be worth making a video of. But according to the troubleshooting chart, I'm getting some stuff out of there. There's an IC. Which one was it? I believe that it was this little girl right here. Sorry. No, I believe it was this one. And really the only thing that the troubleshooting chart said is that if you're having this problem, this IC is the problem, and to change it. Well, I found a few on eBay. They're new old stock. Changed it out. Not the issue. It's doing the exact same thing. So I think we'll have to go a little bit deeper. I think we'll have to use our other oscilloscope to check clock signals and waveforms and things like that. And I think now is whenever it's really going to get interesting. So we'll start a video so you're just kind of caught up on the progress of where I'm at right now, and we'll dig deeper into this thing and we'll start looking, because I really want to get this meter functioning on this scope. And I may never actually use this meter. You know, I've got better meters than this one, but the rest of the scope functions so well that I really hate to not have it be at 100%. And I really feel like there's a simple little problem somewhere in this display circuit that we just need to track down and find. So, interesting project. I think it'll be fun, and we'll go from there. Also, in advance, a little bit of an apology if you hear me crunching away on some food, because it's now 2 o'clock. It's a Saturday, but we had a little hot job come up for work, and I'm in kind of a layover period right now where the guys are out fitting and welding on it, and I just have to wait, have nothing else to do. So I figured I'll grab some lunch. It's a late lunch for me. Stupid hunger right now. And we'll take a look at this multimeter and see what we can figure out with it. Alright, you're probably not going to be able to read this, but I figured I'd show it to you anyways. This is the troubleshooting flow chart that is actually pretty much zero help. And what we're looking for here, I believe that this is going to be, yeah, are all 4 digits lit? It says here, yes. Is display locked on one number, regardless of changes in the measurement? Yes. So, is display 333 or 3FFFFF? Yes, it is. So, from here, the conclusion is suspect U3340. Also, verify proper installation of U3163 and U3340. Okay. So, here's the really weird thing about this. My particular scope, as far as I can tell, does not have a U3163 IC. So, I've got the replaceable electric parts here, and I have a U3165, but no U3163. Okay, so that other circuit we were talking about is right here, and this is the actual display driver, which this is another one that I actually changed. So that just, I don't think that's the problem. Actually, no, I take that back. It's way over here. I didn't check this one out. So it is part of the analog to digital converter circuit. So we'll have to take a look at that. So I've got the board layout here, which should be very helpful while we're looking at this thing. And once again, I don't see U3163. I see U3165. No U3163, which I guess it could possibly be on the oscilloscope. But it seems like we would have a... It seems like something would tell us that. So I'm kind of wondering if this U3165 can be bad. It doesn't feel hot at all. We can try to lift it from the board and see what happens, I guess. We kind of expect, I guess, all the numbers to go blank on this thing. It's probably not the proper way to take this out, and nothing changed at all. So possibly something different here. I really think what we're looking for is going to be a shorted cap or something like that, but you know, I just really don't know. Oh, I do have this loose, but I don't believe that that is gonna cause us any grief. Alright, so kind of where we're at right now, you may not be able to see it, but on this side here, this is our display. And we can see we've got decimal 4 sign, which the sign is not lit. So that's going back to, this is that U3340, which is right here, which is the IC that we changed. So that's not lit, which is kind of strange to me that it isn't. If this was shorted and all these digits are active, I mean, we've got decimal 4, digit 1, 2, 3, 4, decimals 1 through 3. All of these are active, but removing this chip, they all remain active. So I'm just trying to kind of look at things. You know, what else could be bringing these things high to where they would stay on, and trying to find common stuff. And I'm not seeing a whole lot other than U3363 D and C. It looks like it's kind of coming out this way, and I'm not sure where it's going. So we'll see if we can find that, and possibly that could be feeding something. It looks like, you know, maybe, unless, let me see, 1, 2, that doesn't feed digit 1, so I don't think it's any of these here. I just kind of keep on getting the feeling that it's, let's go look at this U3383. That's going to be in area 1E, which is going to put us upside down, I'm sorry. So area 1E, we're going to be looking right here. So this U3383, let's see what happens if we just remove it. Okay, now the display did change. We've got FFFFF across it. So why don't we try removing that again? No change. So that's really strange to me that the bottom, pretty much the bottom of all of the threes are just gone now. But we did get a change, so that's something, I guess. Is this installed right correctly? Yes, it is. It was. Yeah, and as soon as we plug it back in, the threes come back. So, I get the feeling that that might not be the issue there. But of course, U3385 is our display driver, which is way up here. I think we need to figure out what's making this IC hot. Because there are a few things that talk to it here. I wonder if we can get a clock signal on this here chip. So pin 7 should be second to last from the bottom right here. So we should see a clock signal here. Let's find waveform 18 and see if our clock signal is correct. It looks like it's low. Looks like we're only rolling around 60 hertz, which is not going to be what we want to see here. So, where we at? So we're looking for waveform 18. Wow, why does that signal look dead as a doornail? I mean, we are flat. Yeah, it looks like we don't have a clock signal here. Let's see, times the division. So we're looking for 1 microsecond there. How do I pick? A and B. Makes no sense. So let's try you again. It still doesn't seem like there's a clock signal. It just seems like it's picking up noise. So let's find. Looks like we're gonna look for pin 14 of U3103C++. What the heck does all that mean? And let's see what pin 14 is doing for us. Okay, so we expect this to be pin 14. Wow, something is happening whenever I probe that point, something does not smell good. But something definitely happens. Probably don't want to do that. Whenever this capacitor seems like it's getting sent to ground, could it be that we're dealing with this cap being bad? What could we do for that? I mean, I really feel like we're having a bad clock signal here, and the clock circuit looks super, super simple. So this resistor is tied to 12 volts, and then it kind of makes a little divider. So then we gotta. I mean, could that capacitor be open? Possibly. Let's find out before I do that. How about we change to a little bit more sensible tip on this iron? Well, Murphy strikes again, guys. Well, Murphy and inexperience. Let's not kid ourselves here. I broke the cardinal rule of troubleshooting, which is thou shalt check the volts. I figured, hey, scope's doing fine. Obviously, power supply is not an issue. What I failed to realize is that the scope power supply, let me see if I can get y'all to where y'all can see a little better. Power supply for the scope is on this board. This little hidden away gem right here, that is an entirely separate power supply coming directly off of the mains transformer to produce negative, positive 12 volts and positive 5 volts DC to feed the meter. So our negative and our positive 12 volts are shorted to ground. And if we come to our temperature here, let's stick this on in here and we'll look at something really cool. There's no way that's the only. It's gotta be hotter than that. It feels way hotter. That seems to me to be a little hot. I mean, it's hot to the touch. Especially kind of, it feels like this area here. Let's see if it'll let us get in there. Oh yeah, look at that. So we've definitely got a short inside of here. At least that's what it seems like. Nothing else looks, to be off. This little cable here is actually our power rail cable, and it follows through and it drops right into here. So we got to figure out how to get this thing off, and it doesn't look like it's gonna be very simple. It almost looks like the entire CRT has to come out. I really, really don't want to do that. I'm wondering here if there's not a simpler way to remove it. Well, let's get this thing unplugged and see if we can get this board out. Okay, so remove 2 screws indicated by arrows and note their location. Disconnect the instrument file source, remove the instrument cover, see cabinet removal. Unsolder 5 wires from power transformer, see figure 5.4. Okay. So there are 5 wires in here that need to be removed. I mean, it is like tight in there. That is going to be so much fun to get a soldering iron in. Wow, think about reconnecting and how much fun that's going to be. I'm just thinking, we're desoldering these wires. How are we going to put AC power back into that power supply? We're probably going to have to resolder the wires on there and then desolder them and resolder them again. That is going to be an absolute blast. Three stars, Tektronix, for making this thing an extremely difficult disassembly. I'm sure there's worse out there, but not for me yet. The fun part is going to be getting the solder off of here to resolder these to clean them up. 4. 5. And I did actually have the presence of mind to check the output of the transformer itself, so that's one thing I got right, sort of-ish. Alright, let's see what the next step is on this thing. Remove 1 screw from near the power transformer. See figure 5.4. Those screws are like impossible to get to. Is this the one you want me to get? Tell you what, if you don't have tweezers on your bench, you can't do anything. Oh, man. It looks like this is just gonna be possible. Putting it back, that's gonna be a real blast, I get a feeling. Alright, so we managed to get the power supply board out. And I've already found and desoldered a shorted tantalum cap. Which tantalums often, their failure mode is to be shorted, so pretty easy to find. I also think we have a few more here. We can just kind of come along and test those. We just use one of our regulators as ground and kind of go from there. Alright, so that one looks good, but I don't think we're going to leave it there. That one has definitely failed short. Both sides of that, without hesitation, go off. And this looks to be the last tantalum on here. And that one looks good, but I think what we're gonna go ahead and do is kind of just rebuild this power supply here. I think the regulators are good. I may find and order some just in case, but we're definitely gonna recap this entire thing. These two components here are diodes, and they look okay in circuit, so I'm not really worried about them. These capacitors, I have tested them for ESR. They actually look like they're gonna pass, but well, I've got this power supply out. I mean, we're talking about, you know, $10 in capacitors here, so we're gonna recap this entire thing and get this power supply working again. You can kind of see, if you look really closely, you may not, of course it's not going to show up on camera, but this red cap here, there's a little bit of corrosion starting to happen here, so I believe that it's starting to leak. And this red cap, I don't think it's supposed to be sticking out like it is. It's actually poking out a little bit. So I really think that these are starting to go bad. This one here is the same thing. And I mean, like I said, you know, $10 to rebuild this power supply, and this oscilloscope is going to work hopefully for another 40 years. So I'll see you soon. I'm making up a list to order the capacitors, and we'll get this thing rebuilt and put back in this scope. I'm not sure if I'm going to make this. Alright, so we've got our capacitors in to go ahead and start changing. One thing to note, I did match the values and voltages on as closely as I could. When they came in, I was a little bit surprised to find that these Nichicons are a lot smaller body size than these Extralytic and the Sprag. But I think that'll be fine. What I am worried about, I mean, they'll reach with the leads. I'll have to leave them really long. But what I'm going to do is I've stripped some of this Teflon wire insulation off of some 22 gauge wire that I have. I think it's 22. Let's check real quick. 20 gauge wire. So I'm going to use that just as a kind of a little insulating sleeve on these leads. But other than that, we'll get to replacing these caps, and hopefully in a few minutes we'll be looking at a working DM44. Alright, well, it took a little bit of doing, but I think I managed to figure out something that satisfies me. I've got a little silicone band in here that the capacitors are actually going to kind of sit on, to where they're not just floating around in there. And I've also got some Teflon sheathing on the leads to kind of give them a little bit more protection, just basically just short protection, and a little bit for looks, just so it doesn't look like zero effort was put into them. I've replaced all the tantalums with electrolytics, Nichicon, however you want to say it. So that's pretty much it, guys. We're gonna solder this thing back in and hope that we have a good running power supply. I don't see how there can be any more issues on this. I mean, it's a very simple power supply. It looks like all we've really got is a rectifier here, a little full bridge rectifier. I believe they're using these two diodes as a full wave rectifier. There's a diode here that I think that they're just using kind of for a little bit of short protection or something. And then these three capacitors are just filters. I don't know why they went with tantalums for that. Maybe they just had a bunch of tantalums, but these are also filters. So, and there's no reason to go back with tantalum caps on this, and obviously we don't like the failure mode of tantalum. So other than that, just a few little divider resistors, and I mean this right here, these three, actually four, there's a big transistor under here. These kind of make a I don't know what you would call it, an inverting circuit, I guess, but they basically are what gives you your negative 12 volts. So really simple, really nice. We'll get in the oscilloscope. Okay, so unfortunately the conclusion of this video may be a little anticlimactic because as I was editing, I found out that something went horribly wrong with the audio on my original conclusion, but I'm no less excited to show you that when we turn the power onto this scope, we do in fact get a working meter. Well, semi-working. It is having a few issues. Mainly, you can see that the reading is very unstable. So there's a few things that we'll be able to go in and look at on that to try to get that fixed. And also I have inputted voltages into here, and it reads consistently off throughout the ranges. So we'll need to go back in and troubleshoot this instability and then calibrate the meter. But it does show, right now we're just kind of in the time function on this. It does show some reactions, so it is working. I'm very satisfied with that. And also there's a few other things with this scope. I mean, you can see we're getting a little bit of twitchiness on this time base here that we'll need to go in and troubleshoot. It may actually just be the connection on this probe, because it's never really done that before. But also the trigger pot on channel 1 is absolutely totaled. It's just I looked at it and there's a little bit of corrosion and stuff on it. I did manage to find replacements on eBay, so we'll go in and replace that channel 1 trigger and troubleshoot this. But that repair will be at a later date. I have another project on the bench right now that I would like to try to get wrapped up and finish and put into service. And I think that that project may actually help us with troubleshooting this meter again. So stick around for that, and thanks for watching.